All right, welcome, guys. This is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. We will not be doing the NFC powers that are segment today, just because Patrick J is not able to join us for said segment. But interestingly enough, Patrick J will be able to join you guys in the comment section, so that's kind of cool. He will be able to watch, but we're definitely going to go ahead and jump on this free agency thing. Big play Slay, what's up, my man? Happy Monday, brother. We will definitely jump on this free agency thing because the legal tampering period has begun, and I mean, guys, the Pats are making moves. The Pats are making big moves. They've already stolen Jalen Mills away from us, and we're gonna go ahead and get into that. They just recently stole. They just again they signed another former Eagle, Nelson Aguilar. They went ahead and signed Matthew Judon, who was an edge rusher from Baltimore Ravens. Another big signing. So it seems to me like the teams with the money are spending money like there's no tomorrow, as if this whole limited cap space thing, this whole limited cap number is not that big of an issue. But I do want to jump on this Jalen Mills thing, guys, because this one thing doesn't make sense to me, and there's quite a bit of fans. There's quite a bit of fans. King Miro, welcome, my man. Yeah, we're gonna jump on John Johnson a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the other things that the Eagles are doing as well. And again, there's a there's another one. Brandon Graham re-signed, extended that 2 years, 20 months. Jump on the Jalen Mills thing first. So a lot of people are saying, okay, goodbye, Jalen Mills. Good to see you. Blah 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 blah. And guys, I honestly think that we might miss Jalen Mills. I said this a month ago. I wouldn't mind bringing back Jalen Mills if it were like a $3 to $4 million deal. As like a third or fourth string cornerback to compete for either one of those spots. But I definitely wanted us to upgrade for that second spot opposite Darius Slay. Here's the thing about what he got from the New England Patriots, and he got a 4-year, $24 million deal with a $9 million signing bonus. King says, I already missed Jalen Mills. Yeah. The Green Goblin, man, he's got to dye his hair blue now that he's with the Pats. Look, it goes to this. It goes to what we talked about before. Every cornerback that leaves Philadelphia always does a better job at their new destination. We're talking about Sidney Jones. We're talking about Rasul Douglas. We're talking about Shannon Sullivan. Patrick and I brought Shannon Sullivan up yesterday. I believe that Belichick is going to get the best out of Jalen Mills that you probably can get. And yeah, we're going to probably miss Jalen Mills like a little nagging thorn in our side, to be completely honest with you. And it's a real shame. It's a real shame because to me, it almost seems like a secondary curse, like a defensive backs curse that we have in Philadelphia. So I believe that the Pats paid Jalen Mills what they thought he was worth. I believe that a part of that contract that they gave Jalen Mills was what they believe that he's going to be worth moving forward. And that's another crazy thing that they also signed Nelson Aguilar too. So the Pats are obviously making moves, and the Pats are gearing up for another successful run. Obviously, in my opinion, I think Bill Belichick is a little bit bitter that Tom Brady just won the Super Bowl without him. But hey, we don't have to shout that to the heavens, or we can. It's up to it's we can say anything we want. We can say anything we want here. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the moves that the Eagles just made. Yeah, so they extended Brandon Graham 2 years for $20 million. Look, guys, some people are excited about this. I'm not really, guys. It's Brandon Graham. It's not really that big of a move. Kind of the only reason why it happened, guys, is, and I love Brandon Graham, but kind of the only reason why this happened was because there wasn't a lot of saving going on if we cut or traded him. You know what I mean? So we were kind of stuck in this situation of needing to extend him to get further cap space. And the details I haven't quite seen yet, so I'm not really sure how much cap space we just saved. But we'll definitely have to see how that goes through moving forward. And Big Play Slay says, okay, the Pats are just dumb. Why would they just sign Jalen Mills to a 4-year deal when the guy's a role player? Good point. I mean, they probably, like I said, they'll probably get more out of him than we ever did. But and another thing too, guys, it does bother me a little bit that we're seeing all these guys signed. I know we don't have a lot of cap space, but it just is a thorn in my side. That we can't be big players this year. It bothers me a little bit. It bothers me a little bit. But John Johnson, safety, reported that the Eagles were interested in John Johnson. He just got a huge contract from the Cleveland Browns, and it was 3 years for 33 million, so about 11 mil per year. So that's a huge move for them. We'll have to see if he's worth it going forward. But that's another guy that Patrick J and I talked about that could have been a good fit for the Philadelphia Eagles if they were able to pull it off. But there's a lot of reports coming out right now as well that the Eagles are interested in quarterback Jacoby Brissett, and it does kind of bug me a little bit that I wasn't able to remember the fact that Jacoby Brissett was going to be a free agent, because it makes total perfect sense, right? It makes total perfect sense. The Philadelphia Eagles or Jacoby Brissett was there for that season with Nick Sirianni and Frank Reich. He was there for the season with Nick Sirianni and Frank Reich when Andrew Luck retired. So and had decent success. So it makes perfect sense for me for Jacoby Brissett to be the free agent quarterback that they go ahead and sign. And we'll just have to see if that happens. In fact, I don't see how that does not happen. I think that's a perfect free agent signing as far as quarterbacks are concerned for the Philadelphia Eagles, when and if they're able to pull it off. He's not going to be that much money, which is another thing to look at as well. But the one thing, just jumping back to John Johnson real quick, the one thing that does excite me, if the reports are true that they were interested in him, was the fact that means that the Eagles are looking at safeties, guys. So if the Eagles are looking at safeties, then maybe Malik Hooker is going to be an option. I understand the worry, and he's coming off the Achilles and things like that, and we'll have to see how that plays out. But the Eagles are obviously going to be looking at defensive players in this free agency if they're able to make some moves. King says, I wonder where Nate Gary is going to sign, though. Do you really wonder that, King? Do you really wonder where Nate Gary is going to sign? I mean, he's going to sign at Safeway. That's where he's going to sign. He's going to sign at Safeway. He's going to be bagging groceries for your neighborly friendly book club members. That's where Nate Gary is going to sign. No, I'm just playing. We'll have to see. Maybe the Patriots. They seem to be signing everybody. So again, a couple other free agent signings, some big moves, obviously. Just kind of how Patrick J and I forecasted it, with the Kansas City Chiefs not bringing back their starting center for Patrick Mahomes, them releasing Mitchell Schwartz, as well as releasing Eric Fisher. They went ahead and signed offensive guard Joe Thuney to an $80 million contract. So big deal. It is reported that the Oakland Raiders just went ahead and signed Yannick Ngakoue. So my hopes to possibly see if the Eagles are interested in him, didn't quite pan out. Did I ever think that was a realistic possibility? Of course I didn't. But there's always wishful thinking here, guys, that we can always apply to this philosophy. And then some other things as well. The Chargers just signed center Lindsley, so that's a good move for them. Patrick J and I were talking about this off air a little bit, but they still have 3 other starters that they have to sign in order to protect, Justin Herbert, because they did lose 4 of their starting offensive linemen. They lost 2 of their guards and then their center, and then they also released Trey Turner as well. So, but signing Lindsley is a good Lindsay or Lindsley is definitely a good start. He is definitely one of the premier centers in the league. So we'll just have to see how this entire thing pans out, though. But it is off and running. It is hot and heavy, and teams are spending a lot right now. So we'll just have to see how this entire thing entire thing goes. But it does look like the Texans are making quite a bit of moves as well. Texans signed Joe Thomas, um, and then also um, Leonard Floyd is going to return to the Rams for $64 million. And then the Texans signing Justin McCray. So that's a good signing for them as well. So a lot of things are going on. It's kind of a big deal. Let me go ahead and pull some other stuff up for us real quick. 1 second here. Yeah, Leonard Floyd. Yeah, Leonard Floyd's deal with the Rams is going to be a 16 is going to be $16 million per year. Now, I mean, we can talk about that as if like, as if he's worth it. Um, I really don't know if Sean McVay knows what he's doing over there or if that entire front office knows what they're doing in Los Angeles there for the Rams, but we'll just have to see. You know what I mean? But they do have and that's another thing too, I guess. I mean, I and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the NFC West today, but we'll just have to save that for probably Wednesday, is when Patrick J and I will be able to jump into that. But I definitely want to jump into what the Cardinals are going to be able to do moving forward, because they're in for a big offseason as well. Just as we all know, they're all in. It seems like it seems like the Los Angeles Rams are trying to continue to be all in as well. Obviously with the trade for Matthew Stafford and things like that. But we'll just have to see. I'm interested. The one thing with the Philadelphia Eagles guys moving forward is they need to get that cap dwindled down. They need to get that cap dwindled down, and it is bugging me like a thorn in my side. It is definitely bugging me like a thorn in my side. I want to see them get that cap dwindled down. And then just furthermore on Zach Ertz, I saw a report that came out this morning out of the New York Post that said that the tides are turning. Pretty much the tides are turning, and the Eagles and Zach Ertz are in for a disastrous divorce. Look, I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about over the last week or so. Zach Ertz is just acting like a child. You know what I mean? And I can't blame him. I mean, obviously he's seeing all these big contracts go to all these big players, and it's possible that he's still able to get one of these big contracts. He's not that far removed from breaking the receptions record for a tight end that was previously held by Jason Witten. It was only 2.5 years ago in 2018 when he did that. So maybe he can still get a good a decent sized contract out of it, depending upon what Howie Roseman offered him at the beginning of the season. I don't know if it's going to be anything different or bigger than what Howie Roseman offered him, but we'll just have to see. But I definitely believe that the Eagles are dead set on at least receiving a late third or mid fourth for Zach Ertz. So we got to keep that in mind. So hopefully we can get that deal done at some point over the next day or two. You know what I mean? So we'll definitely have to see. And as far as Jalen Mills leaving, yeah, I mean, you guys know my hope. My hope is that the Eagles find a way to at least upgrade that number 2 spot. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping this is hope that we can go after a guy like Brian Poole, as Patrick J mentioned, or we can go after a guy like a Shaquille Griffin, or we can go after a guy like Cameron Sutton. You know what I mean? But we'll just have to see how the entire thing really plays out. We still have a lot of time to go. Obviously free agency hasn't officially started yet. We're just in the legal tampering period. But it seems like Pats are winners. The Patriots are the winners so far today, and I absolutely love the Belichick memes. The Belichick memes have been absolutely astounding and phenomenal. They really have been. It's like Brady just won the Super Bowl, and then it's Belichick sitting on a chair, all dumbstruck. Dak is king. Welcome to the channel, man. People spend too much money. This is crazy. Yeah, Patrick J and I were talking about that off air, man. It's like the people with the money are spending it like there's no tomorrow. And I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's predicted that the cap numbers are going to go way up next year. But it was great because I can't remember which talk show I was listening to. But they made a great point. It's like based on what? Based on what? Because we can't predict how many fans are going to be in the stands next year. We can't predict that everything's going to be back to normal next year. So in my opinion, I don't. Patrick J and I talked about this. Is like, a lot of teams are releasing players, and that made sense. It made sense for teams to release players with big cap hits, because they needed to get themselves. They needed to make sure that they had money for the upcoming season and things like that. And we were all kind of operating on a lower cap number. But now, as we've seen today, it's been absolutely contradictive of what we thought. And I think that what teams are doing, and this is a theory, I think teams are capitalizing on all of these players hitting free agency that wouldn't have hit free agency in any other year, and then are planning on restructuring them later down the line. Once the cap numbers start to steady out and get back to normal a little bit. Dacus King says all the teams with money are going crazy. Look for Jets and Jags to sign even more guys. Yeah, well, the Jags can afford it. The Jags can afford it. Some of these teams can't. The Patriots can afford it. You know what I mean? So like some of these teams can, but some of these teams can't, and that's kind of where it's getting confusing. But speaking of the Jets, Patty J and I talked about this off air. Is Kenny Golladay was spotted in New York, so it's a possibility that the Jets could be in play for him, as well as the Giants. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Broncos got Ronald Darby. Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right. If I didn't see that yet, I'll have to check that. It's not a bad move, guys. Like I don't have a problem with Ronald Darby. I don't have a problem with Ronald Darby. I don't have a problem. Look, I don't have a problem with Ronald Darby. I didn't have a problem with Ronald Darby, when he didn't play up to standard his final year in Philadelphia. He was going through injury. He was coming back from injury. Jim Schwartz's philosophy with his secondary kind of plagued our cornerbacks quite a bit until we got into the playoffs. It seems like until we got into the playoffs, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. I feel like it's just that whole topic aggravates me a ton. Yeah, that's a good pickup for the Broncos. It's a good pickup for the Broncos. Yannick was super cheap to the Raiders. Yeah, Dak. I mean, look. The Eagles just don't have cap room. Right now. I mean, they can't go out and sign these guys. They really can't. And maybe there was interest. I know that there were reports that the Eagles were interested in John Johnson. Now they probably wouldn't have been able to make that move, $11 million per year for John Johnson like the Browns gave him, but maybe they would have been able to do it Yannick Ngakoue had they had a little bit of space, but they just don't. They don't even have it. They don't even have it yet. And that's the issue. That's the thing that they've run into. Nelson Aguilar gets 3 years for $22 million. Oh no, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I'm reading that wrong. Kendrick Bourne. So the Patriots just signed Nelson Aguilar, and then they just gave 3 years for $22 million to 49ers wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, New England. Bill Belichick's pissed off about Brady. Bill Belichick's got to be pissed off about Brady winning that Super Bowl. That's what I think this is. That's what I think this is. He heard the noise loud and clear, and that's what I think this is. They do not like the fact that they had a bad season, which I wish we were in a spot to do, because I don't think, like, ugh ugh. Patrick James is in the house, guys. So for those who were not here in the beginning, I did mention this, is that Patrick J was not going to be live with me today, but he was definitely going to be a commentator. So just a little interesting tidbit. Now I get to comment on him as a comment, or as a fan. Hey, buddy. He's still at work, guys. He's still at work. Patrick James says, "Hey guys, happy Monday. Crazy money being spent on all these guys. One position not being touched right now is wide receiver. A lot of options still remaining there. Enjoy it while you can." Well, Patty, just mentioned, the Patriots just signed Nelson Aguilar, and they also just signed Kendrick Bourne to a 3-year, $22 million deal. So there's a couple wide receiver moves that just been made. But yeah, Kenny Galladay, we still got to wait for that. So Allen Robinson's still not there, but T.Y. Hilton is still on the T.Y. Hilton is still on the market. Curtis Samuel's still on the market. Things of that nature. So all of the guys that we kind of touched on are still on the market. Keelan Cole still on the market. San Diego Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams still on the market. Yeah, there's a ton of guys. Patrick J is right in that regard. There's still a ton of guys at wide receiver position that are still on the market. But we'll just have to see how this plans out. And I cannot believe that I completely foregone this signing by the Pats, the very first one that kind of started off this entire thing today, is the amount of money that they gave to tight end Jono Smith. And that is a 4-year, $50 million deal, kind of bracket. And I can't remember the exact details off the top of my head, but man, oh man, oh man, I don't know about Patrick J, but I did not foresee that. I did not foresee that coming. It's definitely up there. That's definitely up there for a tight end like Jono Smith. But again, he's a guy that's got a lot of upside, got a lot of potential. And he's only 26 years old. So that can only mean good things for Hunter Henry moving forward. But the Patriots are definitely gearing up to continue to be successful. Dacus King says the money is crazy, though. It's monopolized by teams with cap. Yeah, no, exactly, Dak, exactly. But my thing is this: is I think that there's a little bit, like I said before, I think that there's a little bit of they are expecting the cap numbers to jump up a ton in the following year. And kind of like I said before, is I think that's not smart. I think that is not a smart move to go with, because we do not know how normal it's going to get within the following year. We don't know how many fans are going to be back in the stands. We don't know if things are going to be the same as they were before. Patrick James says correct. And Pats are the winners of free agency so far. It's going to be wild. Jonnu got $50 million with over $32 million guaranteed. Yeah, it's insane. That's absolutely insane. But and I think to touch on that too, Patrick, is that it seems to me like the Patriots are making these moves, and it's consistent of this. They're paying guys what they think they're worth, and they're paying guys what they think that they're worth moving forward. And I'm kind of touching on that in regards to like Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills getting 4 years, $24 million with a $9 million signing bonus. I wanted to bring him back, but I didn't want to pay him that much money. But a lot of my philosophy on that is just the Eagles just didn't have the money to give him $6 million per year. It's just the plain and simple. But I love what he brings to the team. I mean, we are losing a leader, guys, in the defensive locker room, and in the DB room, whether we like it or not. Jalen Mills did bring a leadership presence to the locker room, so it is a huge loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's another thing that bugs me with this front office and this organization is they cannot find a consistent method of finding defensive backs. They just can't. And they seem to continue to let guys go. And another name to bring up, and it seems to be defensive players. It seems to be defensive players, in general, because I just saw Camus Grugier Hill get signed to a 1-year deal to play with the Texans, I believe, today. And I love the headline because it says pass coverage specialist linebacker Camus Grugier Hill. And that's exactly what he came to be. That's exactly what he became last year with Miami. And he obviously, as we all know, was a linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick James says Philip Dorsett going to the Jags, and Rob, of course, officially going back to Bucks. I agree with what you've said so far. Mills will play well in their system, and I agree next year's cap will factor in. Yeah, no, exactly. Philip Dorsett going to the Jags, it's a good move. A good move. Philip Dorsett, I understand that Philip Dorsett has not performed up to standard in regards to his draft stock coming out when he was drafted. But I still believe that there's a lot of tools there to be had. I still believe that there's a lot of potential there. And I think that any team that gets Philip Dorsett and is able to use him successfully, or put him in the right position to succeed, can get a lot of production out of Philip Dorsett. He's definitely one of those guys that I was interested in this off season for free agency. That's for sure. And yeah, Mills is going to definitely play well for Bill Belichick. I have no issue with that. Another thing, as far as Rob going back to the Bucks, edge rusher Shaquille Barrett, or linebacker Shaquille Barrett, however you want to address him, did also just resign with the Bucks. So obviously they are keeping the band back together. As we all know, Tom Brady's been echoing those sentiments for weeks now. Dak is King says these guys are flying off the shelf. Crazy, right? It's insane, dude. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Speaking of the Cowboys, didn't somebody just sign Malik Collins? I feel like somebody signed Malik Collins. I know he hasn't been with the Cowboys for about a year or so now. Or maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Somebody signed Malik Collins. But anyway. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see. I mean, we're just gonna have to see. This whole thing is really crazy. And as I said, Patrick, I don't know if you were here for this, but it's starting to bug me, bro. It's starting to bug me that the Eagles can't be big players, especially in a rebuilding year. It's like our claim to fame right now, as far as this legal tampering period is concerned, is we are interested in Jacoby Brissett. We're interested in Jacoby Brissett, and it makes sense. It makes sense, but as far as like when the legal tampering period begins, it's like you're not supposed to hear about your team being interested in backup quarterbacks, from day one. Like I understand the position that we're in, but like it bugs me, man. It just bugs me a whole lot, and I don't like it. We don't really know if the reports were true that they were interested in John Johnson, but they weren't. That wasn't going to happen. It does make. I'll say this. I'll say this about the Browns signing John Johnson is, if the reports were true about the Browns wanting to trade for Derek Barnett, it does make some of those safeties available that they have. You know what I mean? And so, once Patrick and I get to talking about the AFC, the powers that are in the AFC, we'll definitely be able to go through that. Patrick says, yeah, crazy thing is that teams that haven't cleared up cap space by Wednesday is going to already have lost so many options. Most of the big name guys will be gone by Wednesday already. Yeah, well, here I want to touch on this real quick. So, I mean, it was 2015 when Frank Gore was a free agent for, I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time. No, it was the first time. Um, and Chip Kelly was obviously our head coach, and Frank Gore was committed to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. Frank Gore was going to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles, and Ryan Matthews was going to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. And Frank Gore changed his mind and went to Indianapolis at the last second. So, I mean, things can change during the legal tampering period. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not going to put I'll put pennies into that. I'm not going to put quarters into that. But they can. It's possible for things to change. You know what I mean? We'll just have to see. So until the dotted line is signed, anything can happen. Anything can happen, guys. What I'm interested in is I think the Eagles are definitely on the clock. They've got a ticking time bomb. They definitely have a ticking time bomb when it comes to Zach Ertz. I wonder if something happens by the end of the night. I wonder if something happens by tomorrow morning. Because they need to get him out. They need to get him out before Wednesday at 4. And that's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because if they do not, then we're gonna miss out. We're gonna miss out on that $4 or $5 million savings. So, and I think that's why Zach Ertz is frustrated. You know, he's only 2 years removed from breaking the receptions record for tight ends. You know what I mean? And so it's possible that he will be able to get the contract that he wants. It's possible that he's still worth what the Eagles think that they can get for him. He's not that far removed. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I just wanted to jump on here with you guys real quick, talk about this a little bit, but we're going to have to continue to be on the clock and be on the hunt and make sure we keep our eyes peered open because shit is going down, guys, obviously, as we know, but I want to make sure that I get back on the reports for you all and bring the news to you as quickly as I possibly can. But Patrick J will probably be back with us on Wednesday to do a segment, and that will be the NFC West, the NFC Powers That Are segment. And I am definitely looking forward to it, but I will certainly be in with you guys as the days continue on. So one love. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Dak is king. Patrick J, buddy, thank you for joining as a fan, as a commentator today. And then also Big Play Slay, thank you for joining in today. If you're still here, one love, brother. And just one last comment from Patrick J. Ertz will be settled before that. I agree with you. Once decisions go for other tight ends like Henry and Rudolph come in, they should find a taker. Absolutely, Patty. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. But one love, guys. Have a beautiful evening. Stay safe and stay healthy. Happy Monday, everybody. Go Birds, baby.